Today we're going to have a look at the Club Sport DD Plus / Extreme from a PlayStation point of view. I have a more generalistic, in-depth look at the Club Sport DD and DD Plus and Extreme in another video that will be in the description. But since this is a PlayStation wheel as well, might as well have a video that looks at this wheelbase from that perspective. But first of all, a few things. This wheelbase doesn't have the full force enabled at the moment in any title at all. Full force is something that Fanatec plasters it, saying it's the next evolution or force feedback 2.0. It is similar, but works in a little bit of a different way from True Force that Logitech already has as of this moment. So I cannot look at it with full force because full force isn't enabled. The second thing is that if you buy this, it's likely that you're going to have to wait a little bit or maybe a lot because Fanatec has warehouse issues. And also that means if you have a problem with this wheelbase or any other peripherals that you buy this, or the RMA process might not be as straightforward because there will be a waiting time. The last point is that Fanatec sent this for review, and I also have an affiliate link with them. If you want to have a direct drive to the PlayStation, there's only really three choices. There will be the Fanatec GTDD Pro, the Logitech Pro, and also this one, the Club Sport DD Plus. All of them will have different price points, powers, and features. The Club Sport DD Plus costs $9.99, and if you want to have this Gran Turismo wheel that cannot be bought outside of a bundle, it will cost $12.99. Then on the back, we have magnetic shifters. The magnetic shifters are okay. They do its job pretty well, but I think Fanatec has better on its roster. Then we also have clutches over here. The clutches are actually pretty good. They have a good dampening feel, a good progression. I've used this as a throttle in a clutch, and they work rather well. Then on the back, there's something that will be very controversial. It is a QR2 light on this wheel. On this wheel, the QR2 light will unlock the full 15 Newton meters. If you use this QR2 anywhere else, it will still do max 8 for the QR2 light. It's only on this wheel. I've talked to Fanatec about it, and they said, well, we've tested it, and it works nicely. Probably they looked at it with the QR2 light, and they were happy enough. In terms of durability with this at 15 Newton meters, you'll have to wait maybe at least 6 to 12 months to see any reports of this. So I'm not too sure about it, but they say it works and they have tested it. So, take what they say with a grain of salt. As this is a PlayStation compatible unit, it is likely that some of you only have a desk. Fanatec provides a desk clamp for the Club Sport DD Plus and also for the GTDD Pro. They have a new one, which is this Club Sport wheel clamp or desk clamp. It is quite sturdy, but this is 100 euros, so it can be quite expensive. On the back of the wheelbase, you have everything that you need for the PlayStation compatibility. You have a USB-C to connect to your PlayStation. You have 4 peripheral ports for shifters, handbrakes, and pedals. A PSU connection that is not compatible with the GTDD Pro or CSLDD PSUs, nor the other way around. And also, don't try to use this PSU or jerry-rig it to a CSLDD Pro. And finally, a CAN bus connection that should be used for daisy chaining multiple peripherals in the future whenever Fanatec decides to bring new peripherals around. The addition of this GT wheel might not be for everybody. Honestly, it is not a pretty wheel at all. It is, well, in the same realm of what the DD Pro was and the TGT, but it does have a lot of features. Some of the features can only be used on the PC, though. For example, there's a OLED screen over here. That's the OLED screen information only really shows like this if you are on the PC. If you are not on the PC, it will be on legacy mode, much like the other wheelbases or the other wheels have, where it will only show speed and also shifts. Aesthetically, it is really not the best wheel. It is definitely controlled by 5 D-pads, 4 directional D-pads with a click, a funky switch over here with a click as well, so 7 ways. In terms of clicks and in terms of movements, in terms of build quality in reality, this wheel isn't really that good. It is very plasticky. In terms of give, there is a lot of give over here. On these ones, the funky switch as well, though the funky switch does have a little bit of a better click. These buttons over here, the PlayStation and the 4 here, and also these 2 are pretty good. Actually, in terms of clickiness, they're pretty dope. In terms of the L2, R2, L3, R3, they are quite dampened. There's already one thing that you're gonna look when this wheel will be turned on. It's the lights. These 4 lights over here will turn on automatically with this color if you are on a PlayStation. These colors sadly cannot be changed for the PlayStation, nor will be transferred over if you try to change the colors from Fanatec and then try to use it on a PlayStation. It won't work like that. Sadly, it won't save the colors that you want for Gran Turismo or the PlayStation or any other game you want to use. We should start with Assetto Corsa Competizione because I want to demonstrate first something with the wheelbase, which will be these 3 light effects over there. As you can see, as the traction control comes in and releases, it will be changing. There's this green light effect, so it tells you that it's now using green lights, or there'll be yellow lights or blue flags. These will appear in Assetto Corsa Competizione in the consoles. For ACC on the console, the force feedback, it is extremely similar to the one on a PC, so I'm extremely happy about it. There's a little bit of difference, but it's really not that much. It tells you exactly the same thing. It's a very dampened feeling, just like in the PC, but it also has the crispness, and I'm sorry about my driving right now, but it also has a crispness that it needs to tell you if you're doing something silly, like going sideways. It tells you the information if you're understeering, oversteering. This wheel is extremely fast in the way that gives out the information. It is, on the PlayStation, quite unparalleled in that way. On the PC, there are more choices that do something similar. The likes of Asetek, SimiCube, and Simagic will be like that. I know there will be comparisons about the Logitech Pro as well, but we'll expand a little more on that later. Logitech Pro does have a little bit of an ace on its sleeve. It's not as a wheel that is as fast as this one. It's an extremely good wheel, though. I think it's very underrated, but True Force is essentially the ace on its sleeve, and without it, it is still a very good wheel, but I think it is a couple pegs below than this one. So for those of you who are going to race ACC on the PlayStation, this is an extremely good wheelbase, and if you buy the Extreme wheel, you also are going to have the advantage that all of these buttons are assignable, so you have the control of traction, you have the controls of traction control. You can change your ABS, your TC1, your TC2, you can change your maps, you can change your brake bias, basically whatever that you need, you can basically assign it, and this is one of the big things about this steering wheel. While it's, in terms of quality, it isn't really the best built out there, it does have a lot of functionality, especially when you need the real estate to start pressing buttons to do stuff that a sim needs. Okay, the experience on Gran Turismo is likely one of the reasons why a lot of people will want to see this video and to see if it's worthwhile for buying it. But first, I'm going to start with probably something that is confusing, which is, even though this is a Gran Turismo wheel, these flags that you see on the side and you saw on Assetto Corsa Competizione, they were working because it's telemetry based. They are not working here. It doesn't matter if it's traction control enabled or blue flag, blue flag, or green, yellow flag, or whatever it is. It does not work single player, multiplayer. At least I have not found a way to make it work. As you can see, the rev lights are working and they're very well matched. Another thing about the ITM, once again, it only works in legacy mode. So that means it only really works with this speed and shift. It won't do the same thing that it does on the PC. On the PC, this wheel has far more usability. And we have to remember, this is a Gran Turismo wheel. Sadly, you don't have the information like you have on the PC for certain games of lap time, what position you're on, and so on. It really should be on this steering wheel for Gran Turismo. If there's any update for that, I will tell you, but you will need a PC to do the firmware update. You can see something that is very interesting about direct drives. It's not exclusive for this one, but though this one is faster than everything else that I've tried on the PlayStation, is that you understand naturally where the grip is. Of course, this won't make you stop crashing, but at least you'll be a little more intuitive in it when you're crashing. As you can see, I saved another one there. You understand where the grip is, what the rears are doing, what the fronts are doing. It will give you like a very pronounced understeer effect. It will give you the counter steer. If you start sliding from the rear, it will tell you all of those subtleties that you need to know where to know where the grip is, and it does it in an extremely fast, vibrant, and crisp way. As you can see, under steer, the wheel started saying, "Look, there's no grip. The tires are loose." This is essentially the stuff that you want. You want to know where the the information is of the tire, because we don't have any G-forces, we wouldn't know. Now, one thing that I had to do with this wheelbase is raise the power on the steering wheel and lower the force in game to about 2 or 3. Otherwise, it will be going over the top. There's something strange apparently with the clipping of the force feedback in this game. And also, I must say that I don't know how to drift in any wheel for Gran Turismo 7. Doesn't matter if it's a Logitech G wheel, a Pro, a T300, DD Pro, or this. So I wanted to see more of the reaction left and right of the steering wheel, how free it can be, which is really good for drifting. And on the PC, this wheel is really good for drifting, or this wheelbase. Not so much the wheel. So for those of you who want to drift on Gran Turismo, sadly, I cannot provide you with the goods. I like the wheel. I like the ergonomics of the wheel. I think it's a really ergonomic wheel. Though for higher force feedback, I would recommend you that you use some gloves, because these sides over here can start being a little bit uncomfortable if you have a thumb that is just slightly more... if it's slightly on the girthier side, it can start to chafe a little bit, and I would recommend you to get some gloves to get some extra padding there. So especially if you use at higher force feedback, higher force. The ergonomics, once again, very good. You can reach all of these buttons without issues. You can change, the traction control. You can change the brake balance without looking. The traction control will be over here. So you don't need to start looking at the steering wheel or at the monitor to see, oh, okay, where am I at? Am I on the multifunction display? Am I on saving? You don't need to do that. You can do it very easily without looking. You know exactly where all these buttons are. The wheel, while cluttered, it has usabilities. In terms of rigidity, it's not the best constructed wheel. There's definitely better out there. It does this job, but once again, I'm not sure if you use this for a long term at high torque, if it's going to start to creak or not. I suspect it should be okay, but I don't want to put my, I don't want to put my hands on fire for Fanatec or anybody else. It should be okay for an extended period of time at a moderately high force feedback. If you start going over like 10 or 15 newton meters all the time, it's probably something should break. So, anyways, I use it at around 8, which was essentially what the QR was designed and CSL wheels were designed to do. So I really can't complain about this steering wheel. The performance in Assetto Corsa Competizione, very similar once again to the PC. The performance on Gran Turismo, this wheel is extremely natural. Without any sort of true force, it is fantastic. I think it's better than the Logitech wheel, at least if the Logitech wheel is without any true force. True force gives another extra layer, but it can't mask some situations. This wheel is faster than the Logitech wheel, but once again, the Logitech wheel is extremely good. For me, it's very highly underrated. I've marked it very high because of the force feedback feel, but if you're talking about the nitty-gritty, about how fast it is, this is one of the fastest wheels that exists out there, bar the semi-cubes that have 25 newton meters or something like that. This is comparable, for example, on the PC to an Asetec Forte, and the Asetec Forte is one of the best wheels that I've tried for its price. And price is going to lead me to my next point. At $9.99 or $12.99, this is not a cheap system at all. I know some of you will be saying that at that price it should have pedals. I should be offering pedals, but I'm going to tell you a little bit later that the math won't be mathing that way. But I want to contextualize these conclusions. In my opinion, if you are going to buy this wheelbase alone, either it be the Club Sport DD Plus or with the Extreme, with the PlayStation only in mind, I think, and this is the same for the Logitech Pro, you're basically wasting your money. I don't want to sound like a PC snob, but there is really more juice out there that you can have if you go also on the PC, not just on the PlayStation, but also on the PC. You can use third-party wheels with SimHub and all of that. So if you're going to buy this wheelbase just for the PlayStation alone, you're just going to tap a little bit on the performance and lose a lot of possibilities. Once again, the same with the Logitech wheel. This wheel is more comparable with the Asetek Forte, and the Asetek Forte is slightly cheaper while offering a little bit more torque. In places, this one feels a little bit better. But once again, you are paying for the console, especially the PlayStation tax, and that, changes a little bit of your considerations too. If you're coming from a G29 or T300, I think this will be a next step, or one of the next steps, because it will be stepping over the small direct drives like the GTD Pro. It will give you a really, really big step in terms of fidelity, performance, and all of that, and it also in terms of construction quality and possibilities. If you're coming from the DD Pro, it's really going to depend. In my opinion, the DD Pro is already a good wheelbase, and then I'll have to ask you the question, what are you missing with the steering wheel? Do you want the next shiniest thing? Then I would say, yeah, you're probably going to be happy with it, but then again, you're probably going to miss the point. If you're looking for more torque, this could be, a good option out of it because it does have more torque. It's faster than the DD Pro. The DD Pro is a very crisp wheel as well. This one is naturally just a little bit better, but will you have such a big step than you would have coming from a G9 to 3? No. The difference will be felt. Like I said on my previous video, the difference will be felt, but it will be, depending on what you actually need. If you need more torque because you're using a steering wheel that is heavier, that could be one of the reasons. But generally, it really depends on what you actually need. The Logitech Pro is a natural competition to this, so we need to talk about that, and with prices in mind, because I said the math wasn't mathing. If you look at the Logitech Pro wheelbase alone, it's $669, 11 newton meters. This one is $999, 15 newton meters. If you divide the torque, the price by the torque, this wheelbase will be 10% more expensive, 8 to 10% more expensive than the Logitech Pro. But things start to change a lot when you add peripherals, including this wheel. For example, if you buy the Logitech Pro with the wheel, it's $999 for 11 newton meters. If you buy this with the steering wheel, it is $12.99 for 15 newton meters. Of course, you don't need to buy this with the steering wheel. Can you even go cheaper? And if you go this way and buy this steering wheel, it will be 5% cheaper than a Logitech Pro. And then there's the situation of ecosystem, because Fanatec does have an ecosystem, and ecosystems are also parts of buying, and buying does have context. And while Logitech doesn't really have a big ecosystem, it does have the Pro pedals. If you buy an extra box, you can use the Logitech shifter or the older pedals. It could be a choice, but then again, you're matching a really good wheelbase with some very bad pedals. I don't understand that. And if you start to check out the ecosystem, Fanatec has a much better choice of ecosystem. You don't really need to get this wheel at all. This could be a wheel that will be very good if you just need one wheel, because it does have a nice size. It has all functionalities. Once again, you really don't need to buy this wheel. And in Logitech, you're stuck. The steering wheel isn't really the best out there. It does have a lot of functionalities. It does have some bugs with the ITM and all of that. But, if you just need one wheel, this basically could be it. If you are in a Logitech G93 or G29, if you buy something like this, I think you're... And also, naturally, I need to say to you, if you are going to buy this, you need to have in consideration what the hell is happening with the Fanatec warehouse. That means some of you might have issues receiving the wheel because one reason or the other. Make sure that you understand that everything is in stock. Otherwise, it's going to back up your order for months. If that's the case, for especially, I think it's for the QR1 Lite or something like that. And that means if you have an issue with this or any other equipment that you buy through Fanatec, that probably means it's going to be weeks until they see your email and reply, if they reply at all, because, they are under a ton of issues that they themselves created.